Good morning. Good morning. We did have a couple more participants signed up, but let's go ahead and get started. It's already a little after 11, so I'll just start and say good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have a small crowd, but that's great. It's a little intimate. We can hear all about what Miss Ronda from Texan Bank is going to present to us today, and then we can share it with the rest of our membership. But what's great about that is they get to hear from you too. So thank you so much for joining. We'll do some self-introductions. So first, let's go. Sarah, why don't you start?
Alrighty, I'm Sarah Ferguson with Texan Bank. I do business development and marketing coordinator. I get to work with Rhonda, and I've seen this presentation before, and it's a lot of great information.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Miss Ann, how about you?
Hello, my name is Yin Wen, and I'm a teacher at Chavez High School. And I used to teach at Pasadena High School for 14 years before I switched over to Chavez. And on the side, I do commercial development. I developed my first commercial property up in Northeast Houston, and I'm eyeing a second one. And I do have also rental property in College Place. And I'm also going to be running for school board for Pasadena ISD for May. The election is in May 2021.
Excellent. Well, good luck. We'll be here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, so Miss Denise, how about you? You and Barry.
Hi, my name is Denise Burley, and we own Burley Chiropractic. It's the chiropractor. We also have an insurance agency. We help people with health care, particularly Medicare, and under 65.
Right. Some of that cut out a little bit, Denise. Denise is with her and Barry have the Burley Chiropractic Center, and then she also has insurance for all ages. She's my insurance person, and she's fabulous. Okay. All right. And Barry is a wonderful chiropractor. I actually met Denise. I think your sister-in-law, or wait, sister. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk later. I'll tell you about it. Okay. All right. So Rhonda is from Texan Bank. We're going to let Sarah, who knows her very well, introduce her, and then we'll get started. So go ahead, Miss Sarah. And also, I was going to say, if you have any questions, although unless Sarah, you were going to say this, if you have any questions while Rhonda is talking, go ahead and pop them into the chat room, and then we'll go over those at the end of the presentation.
But Stephanie.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you introduce yourself?
Oh, no, I didn't. I never did. I forget. I'm Stephanie Tanner. I'm your South Belt Chamber President here, trying to keep us all informed and have all of the resources we need to get us through these days. So if anybody has any questions for us or for me, for the chamber, please holler at me. Of course, the phone number is the same. The email is the same. Everything's good. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you, Yen, for that reminder. I always forget about myself. All right, so Sarah, take us away.
All righty. Rhonda Sanfilippo is the Vice President of Cash Management here at Texan Bank. Rhonda began her banking career in high school. She officially retired from Bank of America in 2006 after 18 and a half years. I don't know why you came back to banking, Rhonda. I had no idea you retired in 06.
I was too young to retire officially.
But continued her banking career by joining Trustmark National Bank, and now has been with Texan Bank for almost 9 years. Rhonda has 40 years of experience in the banking industry and specializes in assisting business owners manage and grow their business financial needs. Rhonda has served as a board member of the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce and a past business development division chair of the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. Rhonda has been on many volunteer committees to raise money for various organizations, including March of Dimes, United Way, and Kids Harbor. Rhonda has 2 children and attends Clear Creek Community Church.
Good morning. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Let me see if I can, oh, you've got to allow me to share.
Oh yes, I'll be Rhonda. Let me make Rhonda host.
We're all learning this new technology. Okay,
Good now.
perfect. And okay, so can everybody see the screen there? So I normally do, I kind of have 2 different presentations. One is I do a presentation that's kind of geared towards seniors, you know, in helping them protect themselves from all the scams and frauds that's out there. And then I have another presentation that is for businesses and business owners and how they can help protect their business. So I knew that we would kind of have a mingled crowd, so I kind of have combined some information that, you know, might be geared towards seniors, some towards the businesses, and so I just kind of put it all together. And so hopefully, you know, either way you get something out of it. You know, if you've got elderly parents and grandparents, you know, there's a lot of information here that you could pass on to them as well. So, and I'm going to probably talk fast because there's a lot of information to cram in. But if you have any questions, like I said, put them over in the chat area, and then we'll get to those afterwards. So, of course, you know, there's a lot of different types of security threats. You've got all kinds of computer viruses, malware, worms, the Trojan horses, key logging, ransomware, phishing emails. You've got your phone scams, which spoofing, smishing scam. I know they all these crazy words. Your man in the middle, and then of course corporate account takeover. So we'll kind of just hit on all of these as we're going through this. Of course, phishing it's spelled a little different, but it's phishing for information. And that comes in all kinds of ways, whether it's a phone call, an email, a text message, and even the regular snail mail. There is all kinds of ways for them to try to obtain sensitive information from you, which could include your usernames, passwords, credit card information. You know, a lot of people think of identity theft and fraud. They tend to think of credit cards, you know, but you know, it's a wide variety of information, you know, in not only your banking, but also medical. You know, if they obtain your medical information, they can get your blood type, you know, go in and pose themselves as you at a hospital and could eventually change your medical information without you even knowing about it. So, you know, it's just, there's all kinds of ways that fraud, unfortunately, goes against us. So you just, hopefully I can share with you some ways to kind of protect yourself in that aspect. So of course, email seems to be the biggest threat there is. It's just easy and fast. They blanket out, you know, thousands and thousands of emails. And, you know, they're just looking for that one person to click on an email, click on the link to try to get some information. Those emails usually come from, you know, an unknown person or unsolicited email, but then they can also come from a legitimate looking email where they've copied the information from somebody else's legitimate email. They are requesting you to confirm your bank account. They threaten to close your account if you don't quickly respond to them. Verify this information, or we're going to, you know, block your account. They, you know, emails, they go to a lot of individuals you know, from friends that have traveled out of the States, they're overseas, they've lost their, you know, their wallet, their, you know, things were stolen and they want you to send them money. Emails that have a zip drive. I will tell you, you should never open a zip drive unless you were expecting something from someone, because those contain, most of the time, all kinds of viruses that attach to your computer. And then, of course, there's also the emails or even these little pop-ups that come up on the bottom of the screen that tells you you have a potential virus, contact Microsoft at this number, and then it's a number for someone that is just waiting to get into your computer and delete things from your computer that shouldn't be deleted, and or adding spyware type, you know, programs to your computer. So you never want to go by what one of those emails says, or something that comes up on your screen telling you to call Microsoft. Because I know somebody that's happened to, and it wasn't good. So I'm kind of giving an example here of what a phishing email might look like. You know, the wording is always off. You can see here that LaSalle is not spelled correctly, it's not capitalized. If you were to hover over the email address, the true person that it's coming from shows up in that email. So this, you can see this says it's from LaSalle University, but when you hover over the email address, it's coming from somebody at Crimson, which doesn't even match. If you still didn't know who that person was, you could research LaSalle University and find out that this particular person doesn't even work at that university. But, you know, you can kind of tell in some of these emails because, you know, they have odd capitalization, things are not capitalized when they should be, that kind of thing. And then, of course, they always have a link that they want you to click on, and, of course, threatening to close your account or block your card. You know, it's a very threatening type email. And then it's not really signed. It doesn't really give you, you know, a good phone number to call. So, you know, those are things to look for when you see an email. If it looks suspicious, you know, just delete it. Just don't click on any attachments or links within an email. Of course, you always want to avoid those e-greeting cards, anything that looks like a joke. You might think you're looking at a cute little picture of a kitten, and it's really something spyware that's downloading on your computer and you don't even realize it. And of course, obviously, the chain letters and any email that's already in your spam junk folder, you know, just leave them there, delete them, and really just, I can't stress enough, just don't click on emails that you just don't know where they came from, or anything in an email that could potentially harm your computer. Now, this is kind of a little bit for businesses in that, you know, it's called corporate account takeover. So what happens is in these emails, especially if you're at a company and the email is one employee, it just takes one to click on that email, and they've downloaded that software onto their computer, which could ultimately affect all the company's emails and computers. So what they're looking for in what we call corporate account takeover is they're looking for banking account information specifically. So they look for keywords. They don't really care about a lot of the stuff you're doing, but they look for keywords: banking, financial, investments. They're wanting to get your login information to these type of accounts. So it downloads software on your computer. So as you're typing in your password, it might be blocked out on the screen, but because of the key logging software, they can see exactly what you're typing. They can see all your keystrokes. So now they've gotten your login information, your banking information, And what they typically do is they go in the middle of the night, log in as you, they change their password, your password, get all the information that they're needing. And if you have things set up on your online banking like wires and ACH, they could potentially send that money out of your account. You know, and then with, and then they also, you know, when you go to log in the next day, you're like, well, I'm logged out, or I'm locked out, I'll call the bank. Well, in the meantime, you know, they're taking care of getting all the information that they need. So you just have to be very careful, again, with the emails. You know, in businesses, you should educate your staff to make sure that they are not clicking on emails that they don't know where they came from. You know, show them how to look for fraudulent emails, and that'll protect everybody. Of course, you always want to keep spam filters on your computer, and install any kind of updates that need to be installed. Always keep that kind of automatically going. There's ways to scan your computer. You can set it up so that it automatically does a full scan and a partial scan. You know, definitely do those on a regular basis. If you notice anything, you know, your computer's, the speed is slowed down, it locks up. Anything that is not normal might mean that you should run a virus check on your computer. And if it continues, you might want to have someone look at it. Of course, always look at your bank accounts every single day. I recommend looking at it in the morning to see what came in overnight. And then again, in the evening, or, you know, at the end of the day, to see what happened during the day, because transactions now come in all throughout the day. It's not just an overnight transactions anymore. And so people who have cashed a fraudulent check during the day, that would show up, you know, and the sooner you realize and catch any fraudulent activity on your bank account, then the sooner the bank can shut it down. Of course, always surf the internet responsibly. Be sure you're going to legitimate sites. Block all your pop-ups. And one of the things that people don't realize is, you know, your public internet access points, like a coffee shop, the hotels, you know, that's a gateway for them to come in and kind of hack into your computer. So you want to be real careful when you're doing that. The hotels are good to use the hotel lobby computers just to print a boarding pass if you needed to, but those computers are not secure. So you want to be extremely careful when you're using those type of computers. And then of course, just again, always look for suspicious emails. Your ransomware, you probably have heard this sometimes on the news, but basically what it is, you know, again, when they're downloading that information and locking up your computer, they're wanting a ransom paid to get your information. So just be sure that you back up your computers. Don't use easy passwords. A lot of people use password 123 or something like that. You know, create a sentence as your password. You know, the sky is blue could be a password. It does not have to be a word, and you want to mix it up. You want to make sure that it has upper, lowercase, it has some numbers, it has symbols in there. And of course, you know, they always ask you these security questions. Choose 3 security questions. Well, you don't want to use your mother's maiden name, your father's name. I mean, these are all things that scammers can get out there. They can get out on Ancestry. All they got to do is have your name, go search some information, and a lot of that stuff pops up. So they will have access to that information. And then for a business, you want to make sure too that, you know, especially your larger businesses, that you have a separate IT manager from your security. Those are 2 different things. So, you know, you don't want just one person handling all your IT stuff. Of course, you know, for your protection, just again, immediately contact the bank, the credit card company, Anytime you see anything that doesn't look right, we would rather hear from you and then find out, oh, I did know who that company was, or I just didn't remember that that was the name they used. We would rather investigate it and know that it's okay than to not investigate it. Of course, if you see any suspicious fraudulent activity, you've just got to let us know right away. Especially when you're processing, you know, the businesses that process wires and ACH, you make deposits through your app. Even on consumer, you make those deposits through your mobile app. So just make sure that if you see, you get some kind of message that you've never seen before, contact the bank, see if there's a problem with the system at that time, and that way they're made aware of it and they can kind of look into it on the back end. Of course, the banks are not going to ask you in an email for personal information. They're not going to ask you to verify any of your information, your login. We do not do that. So be very suspicious of that. I think even email from PayPal come out that says, you know, verify your information, or we're going to close your account, or we're going to block your account. You know, those PayPal emails come out all the time. So it's not just banks, it's all these different companies that they're just not going to ask you for that information in an email. I have on here, you know, to know the difference between a debit card and a credit card and the PIN versus no PIN. You know, when you've probably heard all these gas station scams, you know, where they compromise the card at the gas station. You know, this is where I would say, you know, use a credit card and not a debit card, because of course, if it's a debit card, it's taking that money out of your account right then. And if it's fraud and you can contact the bank, it's going to take us a few days to investigate it, a few days to get your money back. Whereas a credit card, it's just going out there on this credit card account, and you can investigate it and not worry about your money being immediately affected. You know, the debit cards have, you know, where you put in a PIN number or no PIN number. I would say I've used mine most of the time as credit, and then I have to sign for it. So, you know, because the PIN number, sometimes, you know, those can be compromised as well. And then, of course, your ACH transactions versus checks. The rules are different if you have fraud on your account, depending on if it's an ACH, excuse me, ACH transaction versus a check. So, you know, just look at your account, let us know if you see something, especially electronically, because the time frame to dispute those transactions are different than the time frame for checks. Okay, so phone scams, you know, most people don't realize that there's what's called spoofing, and the scammers, they can make the caller ID show anything they want. It can show any kind of charitable organization, you know, the utility companies, credit card companies. So anytime anyone calls you, you want to be sure that you are talking to that company. I never donate over the phone. If somebody's calling to donate, I will ask them to send me something in writing so that I can get it in the mail, and then I'll be glad to look at it and donate. You know, because that's what the scammers are wanting to do, unfortunately, is get your credit card information or your bank account information over the phone, and you don't want to give that to them. So it's unfortunately, it's hard to know sometimes if you are talking to the legitimate company. You know, some of the things that happens to seniors is they get these calls that, you know, sounding very urgent, you know, and they act like they're the grandchild of someone. And excuse me. And so they come across and, you know, this is Johnny and I'm in jail and I need you to send me money, and it's just very, very urgent. And so the grandparent is caught off guard. They don't realize that it might not sound like the grandson's voice. And that's how the scammers get them a lot of times. And before they realize it, they've gone down to, transfer money to the scammers. The scammer will say, don't call mom and dad. They do need to call mom and dad. They do need to check and make sure their loved one is okay. And most of the time, 99% of the time, they're going to find that their loved one is okay and that it was a scammer. And again, solicitors are just trying to get your information, your account information over the phone, because again, unfortunately, you don't know who you are actually talking to. I will tell you that I especially tell seniors, or if anybody really, but if you don't know who's calling and you don't recognize the number, let it go to voicemail. If it's somebody that wants to talk to you, they will leave you a voicemail. And if it's somebody you want to talk to, you can always call them back. But if you just don't answer the phone, I mean, that is the best advice I can give you. If you don't recognize numbers, just don't answer it. I always, if I see a number and I'm not sure who it is, I'll Google the number and see. And a lot of times these programs come up and tell you that it's a spam call, and then I'll be sure to block those numbers on my phone. Of course, you can also register with the Do Not Call list. I've put the website there for that. But these spammers, they don't care about that list, and unfortunately, and some of them get around it because they buy lists from somebody else, and so that's kind of how they get around that Do Not Call list. But it's still good to put it on there, put your phone number on there, all your phone numbers, cell phones, your children's phone numbers, your parents, grandparents, get all those numbers listed out there. Of course, door-to-door solicitors, you've probably heard stories in the news, they come to the door and they say they're going to, vacuum one room of your house at no cost, but just so you can see how great the vacuum cleaner is. Probably they're really not selling a vacuum cleaner. They're wanting to get into your house, to check out the house, see what you've got in there, trying to look for security cameras, that kind of thing. So you just really don't want to let anyone in your home that you did not invite, that you did not solicit them. Of course, you've got the fake utility workers. You've probably heard those stories as well, where they want to do inspections or water testing. Elderly lady who got, somebody came to the front door, said they were inspector, needed to get into the backyard. The lady said, meet me around. She went to the backyard, and while that guy was keeping her in the backyard, another guy came through the front door and robbed her, while they were out in the back, because she didn't lock the front door. So again, unfortunately, it's hard to trust people these days. But if you need to, you can always call the utility company, from a phone number that's on your bill, not the number that this person gives you. Ask them to wait outside, make sure you lock the doors. You can always call 911 if you feel threatened or unsafe. Of course, you also want to make sure that you're shredding everything. Nothing should really, any kind of mail should not go in just in the trash. Shredders now are pretty cheap, but anything that you need to shred, put it through the shredder for sure. Be aware of, this is again kind of for the seniors, be aware of, letters saying you won a lottery or won an inheritance, and call this 800 number. And, don't, just stress to your family members to not fall for these things. When you're out on websites and you're purchasing something, I highly recommend you use a credit card and not a debit card. Use a designated credit card, and don't save that credit card information out there on the website. I mean, I'll tell you that one time, because I don't do that, but I think one time I did something through PayPal. You had to save the card for it to process. I said, oh, I'll go back and do it, delete it later. And I guess I didn't. And so they, of course, somehow got into that PayPal account, purchased, something, I think it was a gift card on Walmart.com, luckily for a very small amount, because they were just trying to see if the card was working. And luckily I got the email and noticed it right away. And I'm like, I haven't purchased anything on PayPal. Anyway, investigated it, and yes, it was somebody who had fraudulently gotten into the PayPal account because my card was saved out there. They were able to use my card. So of course I had to shut that down. So just be real aware of that, and don't say credit card information out there online. And again, the designated credit card, because when you're purchasing online, because then if that card is designated for that, and it helps, you kind of pinpoint something a lot quicker when you utilize that card specifically for purchasing, versus, I've somebody who's got, 3 to 5 credit cards, and you use different cards on different sites, and it's kind of hard to keep up with it. Same thing with the gas stations, already mentioned. Use a specific credit card for that. I always, I know I look kind of like a fool sometimes, but I literally pull on the credit card container, slot at the gas pump, because if you can pull it off, it's somebody who has put a skimmer on there. So I'll pull on that credit card insert just to make sure that it's legitimately stuck to the gas pump. Not to say that there's not a skimmer inside, but that is one way to check it. Also use the gas station, the pump that's closest to the door, closest to the building, because the skimmers are probably put on the ones that are further away so that nobody can see them doing that. Facebook is a big thing for everybody. Just don't put people on your Facebook that aren't your friends or your family, because those are people who are looking for information. I will tell you that even now, I'm even more aware of it because my son is in the Marines, and people will see me on certain sites that are related to Marines or military, and then all of a sudden I get friend requests from people that I don't know. So you just have to be very, very careful of who you let in your circle, because that's typically how they end up scamming your friends as well. Always check your credit report. Each year I've put up here the website, which is the annualcreditreport.com. That is the government's link that gives you your free credit report. Now, because of the virus, you're actually able to get your credit report free every week through April of 2021. So definitely you should take advantage of that. Check your credit report. Make sure there's no accounts on there that you didn't open, or there is a negative account that somehow somebody opened in your name. You want to make sure you check it and report it back to the credit reporting agency if there's anything on there that shouldn't be there. And then again, tell the bank if you see a fraudulent transaction, or if you get an email that is wanting you to give out information, because we have IT departments that can get those emails and those websites shut down. And I think just you could say that. And then for businesses too, if you because I was saying before, it just takes one employee to click on a link within an email to infect everybody. There are what we call vulnerability testing that you can have for your company that sends out emails to the staff. It lets you know who's clicked on, who doesn't. That way you can kind of educate your staff. It is a big help. And, when I go out to visit customers, I'm always letting them know, about these potential threats. Because the more people are educated, then the less likely they are going to click on an email or a link within an email that they shouldn't, or just to be aware of everything that's going on in the world right now. And then I really think that I kind of covered a lot in a short amount of time, and I know I was talking fast. And but if y'all have any questions, then please let me know. I've put my email address up there, my phone number. I'd be glad to chat with you about anything. And so Stephanie, I guess I will put it back to you, I think.
Sure.
Let's see.
No, we really appreciate all of the information, Rhonda. I definitely, that what you just spoke about here at the end about the, I mean, obviously I've been working with computers and stuff for a while. So a lot of the phishing stuff, I would always be in my office and yelling across the building and saying, don't open this email. Yes, it looks like it's from your friend, but it's not.
Yeah.
I know that happens so much, but people still, even though, we hear about all of these scams and all of that, when it happens to you, sometimes we're just blinded. So this information is fabulous. The annual credit report thing, I love, very cool. So maybe we can share this presentation. I would love to get that email address again. You're kind of going fast. And so, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous information to keep us all protected. Does anyone have any questions for Rhonda at this point? I don't see, oh, well, there is something. If someone is sending emails using our name, but when you hover over it, it is obviously not our emails. Oh, okay. If someone is sending, here, Rhonda, here we go. If someone is sending an email using your name, but when you hover over it, it's obviously not your email, is there anything that can be done on your side, to handle that situation?
If it's a business, then you would report it to your IT department, because they will go in and get it blocked. They can even report it depending on who it's from. I will say that I've gotten emails from what looks to be like a customer, and I'll find that it's fraudulent. And then I will not call the number that's in the email, but I will call that company myself and let them know that I had it, that I got an email from you. And they'll figure out that their whole email system actually has been hacked. And then they're recreating these emails as if it was them to send to the bank to try to get us to give them their balance, or send out a wire or something of that sort. But yeah, if you've got an IT department, let them know so that they can shut it down and take care of it. If you're a consumer, an individual, and it comes to your individual email, not a lot you can do other than just delete it. Don't click on the link. If it references a company, you could try to call that company by Googling their company name, not the number on the email, Googling that company name to try to make somebody aware that somebody's fraudulently sending emails in their name, but really just delete it and trash
Possibly delete that email, and probably you would want to change your password to your email account.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
so you would just
anytime,
want to
yeah, like even on, when somebody's been hacked on Facebook, the first thing I tell them, change your password, whatever it is, change your password. And I know a lot of people like to keep their password the same, for everything. That is not what you should do, because if they find out one password and that's what your password is for everything, then they're just going to go out there and keep trying that password, and eventually they're going to get into something that they know you have access to. So, and I know it's so hard because in this day and age we have so many passwords, but really you should have a separate password for everything. And you can always change your password up, like like I said before, if you use the sentence, the sky is blue, today the other one might be the sky is, gray, it's sunny outside. Like, it just has to be something different.
Great. Okay, so wonderful information. Yin, you have a question? Go ahead. If you're unmuted, are you unmuted? Yes, you are.
Yes. Well, I just want to comment about that, having so many passwords with so many accounts. How can you keep up with all those passwords? How do you do it, Rhonda?
Well, it is very hard, and, I don't recommend them being written down, because if somebody steals your little black book, they're going to have all that information. A lot of times, if I can't remember the password, because I don't keep them the same, but I kind of keep it similar. And so if I don't remember it, then I'll hit forgot password and get an email and just, get in that way. But
I do think that there are a couple of apps out there that are available to users, like Passkey or something like that, where you can hold those things and they are secure. I mean, if your system is secure, I mean, not that everything is 100%. I'm not saying that selling anything. But I know that our IT person here, he has told me about that, because I do, well, I'm not even going to say what I do. Okay. But he was like, you need to put all your passwords here. And then I think in our phones too, there is a way for us to save our passwords. I don't know how smart that is. I do it because whenever I want to sign on to something, it says, my passwords are saved in this one space. So hopefully my phone doesn't get hacked. But there's a lot of people.
That's the key. Moment. I mean, it's hard because, I don't personally use those particular apps because I am afraid if I lost my phone and somebody much more tech savvy than me can get in there and get that information. So, but it's hard. I mean, I know it's hard, and I know, some banks have you change your password more often than others, and it is a hassle. But I'm telling you, if you've ever had your account compromised and you have to go through all of that, it is not fun, and reordering checks and changing all your debits, so it's just better to be safe up front, because I'm telling you, you just don't want to have to go through the headache of all of that.
We did have, Yin, I was going to tell you, one of our attendees here said that there's something called Lastpass that they use. And so maybe that's something that you can look into. Thank you, Barry.
What's Lastpass?
Lastpass. Yeah, if you look over in the chat, you'll see it. And you can look that up and see. I'm sure if you look up, how to hold my password securely or something like that.
Yeah.
That's something that you're looking into. Rhonda, you're not on this call listening.
I have another question, or it's more like a clarification about what you had said earlier, Rhonda, about people can see when you're going into your electronic bank account, they can see your keystrokes.
Yeah, it's a software that they have put on your computer. So as you're typing, those are called keystrokes, and their software allows them to see every keystroke that you typed. So even on your screen, when your password might be X'd out, they on their end can still see what you're typing.
And how do you avoid that?
Don't click on an email, don't click on a link, don't let anything get downloaded on your computer. Keep your computer updated all the time. And then if you see anything strange happening on your computer, then get an IT person to look at your computer and make sure there's no viruses on there. But the key is just don't click on things that look suspicious, that you weren't expecting. Just be very careful on what emails you're opening and clicking on.
Right. Right. We do have a member again, they're called Text PC Solutions, and they're going to be doing a what to ask your IT professional pretty soon coming up. And so maybe you could reach out to them if you have some more questions about, IT, more in-depth IT stuff. And I can give you that information as well if you'd like.
Sure.
So does anyone have anything else for Miss Rhonda? Rhonda, do you have anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank y'all so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Of course. No, we loved having you. We super appreciate Texan Bank and everything that they do for our community. They are wonderful leaders, and their heart is amazing. So your leadership, you know, their heart is amazing. So I was going to say, let's see, we have coming up, I just mentioned Text PC Solutions is going to be doing a webinar on what to ask your IT professional coming up in September. That will be on the 15th. And then we also have a community blood drive happening on the 17th. So all of those things will be going out to our membership where you can sign up and register and all that kind of good stuff. So everything is on our website, southbeltchamber.com. As usual, we have a calendar. We have all kinds of resources for your business. If you have any questions about them, of course, you can always give us a call here at the Chamber, and I will be here to answer that or forward you to someone who can answer the questions, because I don't know everything, contrary to some beliefs. Okay, just kidding. All right, everyone. Well, we can let you get back to your day. If anybody doesn't have anything else, then we will say goodbye until next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.